Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I welcome you to this session where we're going to look at lesson 19, that is in curriculum topics 11 to 12 databases. Facilitator Luchamuzi Faiz IT Director. Actually, this is supposed to be this exam too, but at least this is the way to go. And we're going to look at databases. With this background, these are actually all these are books related to. These are all records actually. That's what is put in databases. They are saying today database management systems manage this information. The address book contains all names, address, location, phone numbers, or whoever you need to contact. So we are using nowadays using computer systems instead of these logbooks in our shelves. Actually, these are all records or information. But right now, all this information is now converted into computer systems, and that's what we call databases. And when it comes to what we're going to look at, you're going to look at databases, and that's introduction to database objects, and how we can create a database for the school or anything related to that. And we're going to look at meaning of the database, examples of database, features of the database, saving and creating a database. A database is simply a structured collection of logically related data that's stored so that it can easily be accessed or retrieved. Or you can easily say a collection of organized data for effective and efficient use. Actually, with a database, it's just a structured collection of related data. For example, they can collect data about an employee. They collect your names, they collect your contact, they collect your location, they collect that's what you call related data. The data flows, and that's what you call a database. They collect all the information, what we call biodata. There are various database management systems like Microsoft Access, Oracle, MySQL. We have Lotus Support, Boran database, and so many others. As we're going to look at them. Examples, we can look at example databases we have on address book. You can find a database which called business code, summaries, club membership lists, companies, employee database, library database, video library. And in these databases, you find that there is information which is related to this kind of will be having content related to this kind of database. If it is video library, of course, we expect movies in there. If it's a library database, we'll be having all books in the library. When it comes companies employee database, will have all the content about all employees employed in that organization or company. So that's what we call databases. We have what we call sources of data that can be used to create databases. We can have student details, patients records, you can have employee records, we can have customer details, we can have labor records. These are all sources of data which can be used to create a database. So long as you have the collection of data which you need to use to create a database, you can always start. Then we have the database. Actually, like I showed you from the beginning, this is what we call the manual database, and this is what we call the electronic database. This is where we are right now. Before this, we used to use this, but right now we're using this. All this data here you're seeing here is now converted into the system for easier access. Yamana database is one that's not computerized. You don't have it in the electronic format. A different direct organism, print, address book, it's a manual database. Electronic database is one that is computerized and can be accessed manually using computer applications. What are some of the advantages? Of course, this will be like most of the data. That's one of them. The other is input and editing your data. You can do that always. To enable automatic updating and the calculation of data. You can always do that. You can always actually make it easier to query, search, filter, and retrieve required data. In case you need any data faster, a database can do that. Electronic database format arrange and present information in a customizable way. You can customizable way. You can always be specific and access any kind of data you may be in need of. Then we have the share information with other software applications, programs. You can always fetch, import, and export data. We can have what we call allow centralized use of information, manage many use of a network, therefore reduce duplication in the banks. Data is validated before its entered in electronic databases. Errors created during a data entry are minimized. Actually, here it is very easy. You can always minimize errors while entering data. Many built-in functions available into electronic database to simplify calculations. There are always a calculation in the database. You can always call out any calculation of your choice. Some of the disadvantages we have is, of course, complexity there. It's cost effective. Of course, it is a bit costly to start it. Performance sometimes can be, if it is a general problem, can always affect some applications. Impact on failure, of course, since it is centralized, it is vulnerable to the system, of course. A database management system is a software program used to create and manage database. Of course, this one we looked at it, and it provides with the user with delete, you can add, you can access, modify data stored in the location. Examples, we have looked at these already: Access, database, SQL server, Oracle, Microsoft, MySQL, Informix, DB2, Paradox, Postbase, FileMaker, Routers approach. So these are just the logo which identifies those programs or those database management system. Like for Access is here, FileMaker, Oracle. That's how it looks like. What are some of the features? One of them, we have local data structure objects that are tables, forms, queries, and reports. These are used to add data and manipulate it. We have queries, filter commands, data validation commands, relationships, sorts commands. We have import and export commands, built-in functions. So this is what makes a database unique. All these features are inside that program. So the terms we can look at, we have a table, of course, with collection of data about specific entity. A table is made up of rows and columns. We call them records and fields as far as database is concerned. A row, we call it record, and a table, actually a column is called a field as well as database concerned. A record is a row that the table that contains information about a given person. Yet a field is a column in a table that contains similar data, the student's name. So you can always kickstart a field or you can kickstart a record. A field name, the name of the field that identifies the content of the field. Like field size, maximum number of characters that can be stored for data into a field. You can always set the primary key, which uniquely identifies the record on each table. Foreign key refers to a copy of the primary key in another table. That is, if you have two tables. An object is a comparison of data of database such as table, query, form, macro. The data type, the type of that will be entered into the fields. That's what we set actually when we are in table design. We set what we call data types. This is the user interface, how a Microsoft database looks like. This is its interface. As you can see, this is how it looks like. It has other ribbon like any other Microsoft application program. It has Office button, it has a ribbon here, quick access bar, title bar, close button, what we call window controls are here. Here they are showing you the navigation pane, which has the tables here, the queries, the forms, the reports are all here. Here it shows that the object table, the object tabs are opened. As you can see, this is how it looks like. How you can create it. Always start. You can always click the start menu, select programs or program Microsoft Access, then click on Microsoft Access to be able to open. And it will accept you to click on the blank database so you can start afresh. Then we have the if you can click on the create button, you will be able to click on your new database ready for you to start creating table forms and other objects. So once you click on create database, you'll be able to click on this button so that you can rename that database. How do you save it? Of course, always click on file tabs, like save as the dialog box appears, browse the location where you want your database be stored, like a desktop, your documents, anywhere. You can always click on browse, takes you to the location. You can either select desktop or you can save it on your flash, you can save it on in your documents, you can save it on your external drive, anywhere. You enter your file name, then you click save. That's how we gotta save your database. And here we have some of the objects on the table. We have the queries, forms, and reports. These are what we call the database objects. And we're gonna look at one by one. First, we're gonna look at Microsoft Access allows you to manage your information in one database file. However, within the Access, there are many objects. The many objects being table, queries, forms, and reports. Tables store data in your database, we call that known. Forms allow you to enter data and view data stored in your table. Queries used to extract specific information from the table. Of course, reports present data in a table or query in a neat and organized and readable form. So this what we call, these are objects which manage your database. So this is the navigation pane I was talking about. This is how it looks like. Show the tables, show the queries, forms, and reports. These are the icons for those tables, queries, forms, and reports. You can always minimize it according to, you can rename the table, you can rename anything here. You can open, you can delete, you can do anything you want here. And a navigation pane. Then this is how the table looks like. Of course, where related data is stored, like you can see here the numbers, you can see the product or category, you can see here the description, and so many others. How would we create a table? Of course, you click on create. Once this is open, this is the interface. You can click on create here, then you'll be able to see the table. You go to design view, design it, then have to go back to the sheet view, enter information as required. So these are the design views, the table views we talk about. So advisable to first create a table using design view. When you switch to the view for the first time, you'll be promoted to enter the name of the table so that you're about to create the server dialog. So here what they are trying to mean here, that you first go to the design view, that's how it looks like, so that you can always set your table how you wanna live, how you want to look like, you know, like the ID, the field name, the data type. You assign the data type to each field. That's what you mean by designing the table. Some of the data types which are here, we have the auto number, the short text, long text, number, date or time, currency, yes or no, or object, hyperlink, attachment, lookup. So these are the major data types in database. Auto number, of course, the numbers will be automatically once you start entering data. You don't need to put them manually, they will be always put automatically. That's what we call auto number. Short text, mixture of numbers and letters. Long text should be a bit long. Number is specifying that deals with calculable numbers. Date or time, of course, that's obvious. The currency, yes or no. So these are all data types which helps us enter data in a table. You consider this first before you enter your data. The primary key, of course, uniquely identifies the geocode in a table. This is the primary key. This is how it looks like. It is always found on the home tab. You can tap on it, or you can always right click on any value or any number or any letter, or you select the field name, then you right click on it to be able to see the key or the primary key. Then we can have the field properties. Of course, this also helps us to assign or to control our field names and their properties or data types. So for example, this is the image of the field name. This is the field name, this is the data type, this is the description, and this is the field property. So these are all found under table design. This is where you can make your table look fantastic. So we have looked at, these are some of the field property, like a field size. You can say the size of the value or the text format. You can change the format, for example, the date or time format. Input masks, you can always set the numbers to whatever you want. The validation rule and validation text, these are just used check the very entered into a field as they usually leave the field. So this one, this only data that obeys this rule is a valid entry for this field. So if the field is for F or M, the sex field accepts F or M and gives anything else entered. So if you enter anything apart from F or M, it will always deny you access. Then we can look at other field properties like a validation text. Like it will always display whatever you have put under validation text for where you required an index. So all these are field properties. We have some of the relationships in database. We have one-to-one relationship. Of course, we have one-to-many. We have many-to-many, and we have many-to-one relationship. These are all used to link different tables together so that it can become more resourceful. Forms, this is how a form looks like. You can design it to look like this. Is an object that you can enter data or display data from a table or query. So you can use forms to control and access data such as which fields or data display. So with a form, you can always make it look nice. You can always make it look fantastic, because you can also use to enter data like that in the table. Then we can have what you call the form tool. Like if you want to create a tool or any form, you can always click on a form here. That's the table is provided. If you want to go to more forms, that's form wizard, and then make it more unique. That is it. Then we have queries. For this one helps in find specific information about some of the data from the table quickly. So this one filters more, but more advanced. So this is this is the most important thing on a database. Queries filtering out the information that you want. That's what it means. Reports, of course, these allow you to present comprehensive data in an easy and readable format for and for printing. Information reports get from a database with a lot of information. So a report can be created using a wizard and design reports. Like queries can extract data from one or more tables. So with reports, you can always design it using wizard, that is report wizard or report design, to come out with a nice report. This is how a report looks like, just a sample. You can always insert an object or a picture or image. You can put your title around here or in the middle. You can put it in. You can put your content in a table like this to look in a report way. Then lastly, that is what I had for you today, and I think that was the end of lesson 10, and it's all about database. We shall meet inshallah in the next topic. That's the last topic. It's called emerging technologies. We're going to look at more technologies. You can always subscribe, reach me in these contacts, like, share. I wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.